Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Jeb Smith, real estate broker here in Southern California. Today is December 1st, and we're going to go over the housing market. We're going to give you predictions through the rest of the year as well as 2021. We're going to look at existing home sales. We're going to look at pending home sales reports that have recently come out. We're going to talk about the home price index report that came out from CoreLogic, where they discuss, what they're expecting in 2021 with regards to certain areas that may appreciate the most. They're also expecting a decline in some areas, what all of that means. We're also going to talk about some of the states that have produced the highest level of price appreciation year over year, and we're also going to talk about some of the doom and gloom out there. Is it real? Is it just clickbait? I mean, honestly, it's hard to believe that we made it to December of this year without a market crash based on all the negativity out there. I'm not a doom and gloomer. This is not a doom and gloom video. This is a video that's going to just really cut through all of that and give you the reality on the market, what's actually happening in the housing market, why home sales are continuing to go up, why inventory is remaining low, and why we're probably going to see a market very similar to this market in 2021. Why are people going to continue to move? Why are people going to continue to, to buy homes as, the prices increase? All of that. We're going to talk about employment numbers, why the unemployment numbers probably aren't as bad as most people think they are. And we're going to talk about forbearances. Where are we right now? What do we expect as we come into the end of the year when the moratorium expires? All of that good stuff. So I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and do me a favor, as you're going through it, if you like the content, if you find it valuable, give me a thumbs up, and leave me a comment if you have questions about the information that I'm providing. So let's start today's video by talking about existing home sales. So existing home sales, as we've discussed before, is a lagging indicator. What does that mean? Well, both of these reports are from October. Because it takes a month to generate the report from the previous month, so we don't actually get the November numbers until the end of December. But what you see is trends, right? It takes a lot to break a trend, and so while the data is a month old, it's a pretty good indicator of what we'll see, month over month. Unless you continue to see rapid declines or big changes in the market, you're not going to see big changes month over month in most cases. But existing home sales is a lagging indicator. These are homes that sold in the month of October. So existing home sales grew for the fifth consecutive month to nearly 6.85 million homes. That is a lot of property, well above anything they thought they would see this year, especially with the pandemic coming in. That's a 4.3% increase month over month and a nearly 27% increase year over year. So a lot more homes are selling than expected. The median home price went to $313,000. That is 16% more year over year, and inventory decreased to a record low of 2.5 months of available inventory. What does that mean? That means if inventory stayed the exact same, that we would sell all the houses available in the next 2.5 months. So not a lot of available inventory out there. And 7 in 10 homes that sold in October, actually 72%, sold in less than 1 month. So the pace at which properties are selling is very, very fast. Because buyer demand is high, interest rates continue to reach record lows. So that's what's happening with existing home sales. Now, pending home sales is a little different story. Now, pending home sales is a leading indicator. These are homes that are going into escrow that essentially will close in November. So what we saw is the same. These reports are a month old. So this is the pending home sales for the month of October. So these are properties that would essentially close in the month of November, and we're showing a 1.1% decline. Now, a decline in pending home sales, people are going to say that this is a slow in the market, that this is, this is the start of the crash, that, this is the end, if you will. And the reality is, as I've said this in videos before, this is the time of year when the market slows. It's the holiday season. You're getting into Thanksgiving. You're getting into Christmas, those that celebrate the holidays. And, this year is a little bit different too, because you have a virus out there, this pandemic that people are scared of. People don't want to be around other people. Clearly, there are parts of the country that don't care, but a large majority of the country doesn't want people walking through their homes during this time of year. They're very cautious about cleanliness, etc. So putting their homes on the market this time of year is scary to them. And so, you're going to have less people putting their homes on the market than normal. You're going to have people that don't want to, people to walk through their house during this time of the year because of the virus. But then you also have people that are celebrating the holidays. They might have family over. They're spending, every day in the house. Kids are homeschooling. People are working from home. They just don't want people in their homes. So you're going to have less and less property coming to the market. So, that's what I believe to be the decline in pending home sales rather than some huge decline. Now, before we get into the home price index from CoreLogic, I want to take a minute and talk about mortgage delinquencies, forbearances, what we're seeing in the market, what we might see as we transition into the new year, and what all of that means. Now, while mortgage delinquencies improved again in October, falling to 6.44%, which is the lowest level since March, we are still showing 3.4 million delinquent mortgages. Now, this is nearly twice as many as there were entering the year, so there's a lot of people delinquent on their mortgage. But what they fail to tell you in these reports is the people that they're counting as delinquent are people that are currently in forbearance. Now, there are people that aren't in forbearance that are delinquent, that never took forbearance and they just never made their payment. So those people are truly delinquent. And then you have people that took forbearance where they were allowed to miss their payment. They're also counting those people as delinquent. So if you're allowed to miss your payments, yeah, you're delinquent, but that's a different statistic. So you do have 3.4 million people that are delinquent. Some of those people are in forbearance. Some of those will turn into foreclosures, but how many? And that's the question that remains out. With all of that said, serious delinquencies, loans that are more than 90 days delinquent actually improved in October, but the volumes remain at more than 5 times the pre-pandemic levels, as we mentioned. So there's still a lot of people out there delinquent, but if you're looking at the delinquent numbers, they are counting people that are in forbearance in those delinquent numbers. So we truly don't know how many people are in a position where they can't make their payment. Now, we have seen statistics of people coming out of forbearance. So they've either, their forbearance plan has ended, they didn't extend it, and or they, sold their house, refinanced or what have you, and came out of forbearance. And the large majority of those people coming out of forbearance are making their payments on time. So, everybody thinks forbearance, is an automatic foreclosure. And the reality is that's not the case. There are lenders out there helping people come out of forbearance, whether it's through a repayment plan, some sort of modification, the deferment or whatever, to assist so that we don't have these foreclosures. Now, I'm not naive to think that there won't be foreclosures from this. I do believe you're going to see foreclosures, but as I mentioned in other videos, these foreclosures are going to trickle out. In some areas, they may come to the market quicker than others. In the state of California, as a tenant-friendly state, as a state that requires you to go to court for foreclosure, it's going to take time. And if people continue to fight this, those foreclosures are going to take longer to come to the market. So it's not going to be this huge wave of foreclosures. January 1st, you have all of these foreclosures that come to the market and just drown the inventory. That's not going to happen. Now, in some markets, 90 days from now, you're going to see a slowdown in housing. You're going to see not necessarily buyer demand slow, because I think buyer demand will stay high because of low interest rates, but you're going to see the appreciation slow. You're going to see existing home sales, pending home sales probably not at the levels that we're seeing right now, just because you might have more foreclosures in that market. But what we're going to talk about right now is the home price index from CoreLogic, what they're expecting to happen in 2021. Now, some of these again are lagging indicators because they're basing their information off data that happened in October. but the other half is their forecast, what they're expecting for 2021. And this is not me, this is not my forecast, this is their forecast, but I'm going to give you my thoughts on their forecast based on the information that they've provided. So CoreLogic is showing that home prices increased 7.3% from October of this year versus October of last year. So 7.3% increase nationwide. And we also saw a 1.1% increase month over month. At the same time, CoreLogic is expecting a nationwide appreciation, an increase of 1.9% in 2021. Now let's talk about some cities, what we're expecting to see in different markets. So Phoenix actually led the way with a 12.1% increase year over year. San Diego wasn't far behind at just over 8%, I think 8.3%. And so these are major metropolitan areas, right? So you've got people that are moving to San Diego for the weather, for jobs, for whatever reasons. You got Phoenix, people wanting to get out of California. So you've got a lot of people moving out of state to Phoenix. And people moving from other states as well, moving to Phoenix. You got people from colder areas moving to Phoenix as well. And so you're seeing high appreciation in those areas. Now let's talk about the home price index expectations for 2021. Now they are expecting a decline in some markets out there. One of the markets you'll see is Las Vegas. They're expecting a decline in that market due to a lack of tourism as well as the job market. But as you'll see here, they're only expecting a 1.9% decrease. You know, as far as I'm concerned, a 1.9% decrease is pretty much level. That's a stabilization in a market. And, you know, a small decrease is actually needed in some of these markets so that they continue to flourish. And let's be honest, the tourism market will come back in that area. The job market will come back in that area. So, you know, that 1.9% decrease or potential decrease is a far cry from a market crash, which is what a lot of people out there are talking about. But at the same time, when they're talking about a decline in Las Vegas, they're also talking about an expected increase in San Diego of nearly 8%. So you'll have some markets that decline, which is to be expected, but you're going to have an increase or a potential increase in a market like San Diego of nearly 8%. So, you know, this is normal market activity. I mean, you know, over the last 10 years, you've seen similar markets. You've seen markets appreciate in, say, San Diego, Orange County, LA, and at the same time, you've seen some of these houses go down in markets like Vegas. So what they're saying is you're going to start to see more of a normal market, at least in my eyes. But one of the things that continues to come up is unemployment numbers, right? What's happening with unemployment? Everybody gives me grief. You don't cover unemployment. Blah, blah, blah. Well, unemployment last month, I believe, came in at 6.9%, which is, you know, the lowest level that we've seen since the pandemic started. And I think expectations for this year when the pandemic initially came out was somewhere in the 9% range. So we're well below where they thought we would be. And, you know, unemployment, 6% unemployment is actually considered full employment. Now, I realize that that's crazy to think that 6% of the population is unemployed and it's still considered a fully employed population, but 6% is what they consider full employment, which means that anybody that wants a job has one. And while I realize there's a lot of people out there still getting laid off and will continue to get laid off, and I expect that these numbers will rise, you know, what's being said and what I'm reading is that a lot of the jobs that people are being laid off from are more entry-level jobs. These are service people, these are, you know, restaurants, entertainment, etc., and not really the population that were buying homes to start. Now, I realize that, you know, there's a lot of people that are affected that were buying homes, but we're talking as a nation, as a whole, and, you know, when, you know, people talk about unemployment numbers, if those people weren't potential buyers to start, then it's not going to affect the housing market. Now, again, I do think that, you know, there are people that have been affected that were potential buyers that got laid off, that lost their jobs, and you know, I feel sorry for those people because, you know, it's an unfortunate event that happened, that, you know, where these people have lost their jobs. But I do believe in coming months with a potential vaccine that's coming to the market, and whether or not you want to take it or not is one thing, but that, you know, these jobs are going to come back. in a lot of markets. Now, restaurants, some of these service level jobs, it won't come back, but these people will be able to find employment in other areas. So I do expect employment to continue to get better, in coming months, maybe not immediately, but in coming months. And, as I've said, buyer demand is going to remain high because of low interest rates. We know that interest rates are going to stay low. We just got the recent loan limit adjustment from Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac showing that, they've increased loan limits again, which is going to allow people to purchase at a higher price and keep their rate low. So you're going to be able to get people that buy in a higher price range now. So with prices going up, you're going to have buyers that can still purchase at higher prices because of that. So, while inventory remains low, buyer demand stays high, you're going to have a market that continues to move sideways to up. As I've mentioned, I expect this to happen through 2021. I realize this is a bold prediction, but I don't see a lot changing that at this time. So, as I continue to get updates, I'll continue to put them out to you. But for now, that's what I have. If you haven't done so already, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. If you like information like this, give me a thumbs up if you like the content. But I do appreciate you taking the time to watch. I appreciate all the support, and I hope to see you again soon. Have an awesome day. Bye-bye.